Welcome to the show titled Conversation with A. Here, we focus on the role behind the person to give you, the viewers, some insight into how to operate in their world. Hello, I'm Davo, and today we have
SJ Magic.
Hello, SJ Magic. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Could you please demonstrate a magic trick for us?
I knew you were going to ask that question, so I brought something along with me. I've got a bag over here, right, with 2 coins, a 10p and 2p. Could you just make sure that that bag is completely sealed? It is. Yeah, so nothing can go in, nothing can come out. I'm just going to wrap that up and keep that right there. Could you just hold on to the top for me? Just like that. Fantastic. Now, I've got a pack of playing cards over here. They're all different, they're all mixed up. Now, could you just shout stop anywhere you like? Just shout stop.
Stop.
There. Just remember that card. Yeah, in fact, what I'll do is I'm going to take this card and just rip the corner off, just like this. Right? Can we swap? Hold on to that. Pick a coin, 10p or 2p?
10p.
10p?
No way.
Match the corner.
Yeah. That's the card right there.
And there's no holes in the bag? Nothing like that?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When did you decide to become a magician?
So for me, I found magic, or magic found me. I was probably, I'd say, about 10 years old. I was at a gig, a wedding reception, and there's a magician going around. And like an excited little boy, I was literally following around everywhere. And I just saw how people were reacting and how people were just smiling and having a really good time. And at that moment, I knew I want to be that person, putting excitement and, just pure entertainment into people's faces.
So it was more of an instant.
It was instant.
Affair.
It was instant. It was literally, I saw people's faces lighting up, and I wanted to do that. It was that moment.
What type of magic do you perform?
It varies. When I started off, it was mainly close-up magic, going to small groups, entertaining like 5-6 people at a time, walking around, more street style as well. Very close and intimate style magic. Over the years, I found my love for theatres and stage. So I've now created a tour where I go and do theatres with bigger tricks, where it appeals to a big, wide audience rather than 5-6 people, where everyone gets to enjoy the show. It's an interactive show where about 20-30 people come and join me up on stage, and they get to feel part of the show as well. And it's wonderful because I love that. It's still got that interaction one-on-one as well as 500-600 people.
So from close-ups to performing in theatres, do you feel you or magicians should have a signature move?
Signature move or style? Style is very important. Magicians can be doing the same trick, but it depends on the style. It can change the whole trick. I've got very, very, very close magicians that we all kind of do similar things, but we all have a different style. Like one of my other friends is a visual magician. He can do a complete silent act very close up. It's completely different magic, but the style is different behind it. Where me, I'm more intimate. I like to get people to give me their phones, their keys, their rings, and I like to get very personal with them, and it makes me feel like they actually enjoy that magical experience because it's right there. But style is very important.
How often do you practice, and who serves as your test audience for these practice tricks?
Good question. my parents, and they really get annoyed. I catch them at the wrong time. Basically, growing up, I would be literally locking myself in the room practicing all these tricks, and it's cooking time, and I'd go and disturb my parents when it's cooking time, and they would hate it. They would literally be like, "You're always finding the wrong time," but they love it. My granddad and my grandma, who's not here with me anymore, but she would never say no. She would always be like, "Yeah, show me a trick." Whatever she's doing, doesn't matter. She'll stop what she's doing just to watch the trick, even if it was bad and terrible. She would still enjoy it.
You said you've been practicing since you was 10 years old. So how did you practice? Was it tutorials? Was it books? Was it online courses?
Back then, there was nothing like there was no videos. There was like YouTube. I don't think even was a big thing back then. It was like a very newish platform. Um, it was mainly watching other magicians. So there was a couple of TV shows where they showed you a few tricks. But my initial thing was I learned basic things like the principles of magic, and then I started learning my own styles and new things. And then I met a lot of magicians. One of my really good friends, Stephen Barry, who's a phenomenal magician. He, I got introduced to him because I did a show in school, and the head teacher at the time was like, the 15 years before me, there was another student who was a magician, and he invited him to come and watch my show. And since then, he introduced me to the magic circle, to the magic community, to all the dealers that make these tricks, and it changed my life. From that day, I became involved in a magic community, which I don't think I would have been exposed to if it wasn't for that person, Stephen.
So you was fortunate enough to have a mentor.
Yeah, I could say he was a mentor. He's still a very good friend of mine. Anytime I need.
Would you say having a mentor is perhaps more beneficial than researching on YouTube or buying magic sets?
100%. I mean, magic sets will only get you so far. You don't actually. With magic sets, they're wonderful. You learn tricks, but with a mentor, you learn how to be a performer because you pick up different styles. You develop your own style. Anyone could learn a trick, but if it's not performed with energy, if it's not performed with the love and passion behind it, it's not going to be the same as without. For me, it's all about how you perform it.
How important then, or how often do magicians incorporate other elements into their performance, from comedy, from singing, from all these other areas?
It varies on the artist, really. For me, when I started magic, I could only do close up. I used to be terrified of doing stage. Literally, I used to be completely terrified of being in. I was scared of talking and how I would sound, and if I sound like a magician, on all these thoughts used to come into my head. But the moment I incorporated comedy into my act, it completely relaxed me out. I felt more comfortable because I could I could be in complete nutter on stage, and it changes the whole show. Whereas if I'm trying to be somebody who I'm not, I'm a very relaxed, you know, chilled out guy. I'm not serious at all. I'm like a professional idiot, if you want to call it. So it really helped me. The comedy really built my act and made me feel a lot comfortable on a bigger stage. But a lot of people, some people like serious stuff, like mentalists who do mind reading. They're very serious. Like if you see Darren Brown and other magicians who do real mentalism style, they're a bit more serious. But you do get the comedy aspects of mentalism as well. So it really depends on the person, on the individual, how they are as a person.
So then, where do you get your inspirations from when you think of new tricks?
New tricks are very hard to come across myself. It's generally using principles of other tricks and combining them into telling a new story. So you could buy a trick, you could do that trick, it'll be different. But if you add your own story behind it, you've created a whole different effect. Um, I like to have things linking in my stage shows, especially one trick in the beginning links to the trick at the end, and everything in between is linking to that end moment. From the very first trick to the end trick, it's all linked, and people don't see it until the very end. Oh my god, that this was a whole planned thing from the beginning. And for me, that's how I get inspired, because I like things to get figured out in people's head later on and click. It makes it a lot more powerful.
So, have you ever had situations where you've performed a trick that went wrong? And if so, how did you manage?
It's good, it's good. You know what? Nobody will ever know, because you have no idea what I'm about to do. If you knew the trick, yeah, you'll know there's a mistake. But because you have no idea what's going to happen, you don't know what's supposed to have happened, I can just wing it and just literally you wouldn't even know. It's happened. I'm not gonna lie, I have messed up on tricks. But it's thinking on your feet, it's the experience behind it. Yeah, I struggled in the beginning when I had no experience, but now I've had experience, and you bring out the comedy side. You say, you come out with these lines that, if they pick it up, you got to be honest sometimes. Sometimes you have to be honest that I screwed up, but you got to do it in a way without them thinking you're not a good entertainer. At the end of the day, I am an entertainer. I'm there to entertain, and if I put a smile on someone's face, they were happy about it, they really enjoyed it, and they're excited, I've done my job. It doesn't matter if I screwed up on a trick, because my other stuff will just make that trick fail, just go over their head. And that's not what they will remember. If you're good, hopefully, they will not remember that mistake.
As a magician, when you're watching other magicians perform, do you watch it in amazement or do you watch it as a critique?
I hate it that I don't get to feel some tricks the way I should feel naturally, because it's like, even movies, I like to break down everything. I would even go and watch behind the scenes of it. I like to know things because of the magic, and I've got insights on things. I hate that I can't love it like everyone else does, because I'm there sitting down, even if I don't know the trick, I'm trying to break it down in my head.
What type of audiences have you had that you would say perhaps are the most difficult to perform for or the easiest to perform for?
Difficult is it varies, because you know when there's a drunk crowd, people still, they're great to perform too. I love performing to drunk people, but some people get a bit excited and they get a bit too close or personal, and they start kind of trying to get in on the vibe, even though they're just vibing. But it can, like, not slow down my routine, but it could cause problems in the routine, because I'm trying to talk and then they're talking over me, which is quite difficult to handle, because there's only so much you can do. You don't want to push people away. You don't want to, you got to do it in a manner where they don't feel like they're getting shut down, because the moment you shut down somebody else, they're going to go against you. Um, I don't mind skeptics. I actually love working against skeptics, like people who want to, oh, you did it that way, you did it. I've got my ways around working with them. I don't go against them. I make them part of me. So I said, you know what, this guy's a fantastic magician. He's actually the guy that taught me. Actually makes them feel so good. And the moment you make them feel good, they're not going to disturb you anymore. And what generally tends to happen is, if there's a group of 10 people and there's that one guy trying to ruin the show, 90% of that time, everyone else will tell him to just shush, just let him do his thing. So I don't even have to do anything. I just carry on. I don't personally go out there to attack anyone if they're going against me. It's it's natural. People don't like magic, or they don't like to be fooled, and they feel like they're no longer, they want to bring out the alpha side in them, and that's completely natural, and I just have to vibe with them. You can't go against them. It will slow you down, and it will ruin your show if you do.
Earlier, you mentioned how you was introduced to a network
Yeah.
of magicians
Yeah.
and other groups. How how much of that network come from the same background as you?
Not many. There isn't many India. I'm Indian. There's not many Indian or Asian magicians. Not enough, I'd say. Being an Asian background, study is a main thing. Like when you're young, you have to study. If you're not studying, you're in the bad books. You know, it's not good for you. So after getting these phone calls home and everything, I used to get in a lot of trouble at home as well. And they were like, no more. They never used to let me buy things, or it was difficult. It was very difficult until I showed one teacher a trick, and that's when the school found out I do magic, not messing around. And they were mind blown. They were like, "Listen, you should not stop what you're doing." They in the parents' evening, I that was the best parents' evening report I had. Every single teacher was telling my parents, "Don't stop him from doing it." My first gig was through a teacher. A teacher booked me and my mate Jamie, who used to be in the same school. We used to be both magicians. She booked both of us for a little birthday gathering in our house, and it just kicked off since then. And that's when everyone knew. My parents knew this is going to be somewhere. Don't stop him, and it changed. My parents' view on it changed. My family, everyone. So the support I got after was just incredible.
So, how do you make money in this profession?
There's a few ways. Quite a few ways. Do a lot of weddings. I've been doing weddings for about 10, 12 years. Corporate events for Christmas parties or promotional promotion for their business, like products or whatever they want to launch. I would go and brand for them. Or there's now YouTube, there's Instagram. I'm getting myself into acting. From venturing from magic, because magic is acting. That you have to act. So I'm venturing into acting, modeling, photo shoots. Just you'll find ways of making money from it. People go to busking on the streets of London. For a couple of my good friends, they would literally busk every day in Covent Garden and make good money.
And how do you promote yourself? How do you get your name out there?
Word of mouth. Word of mouth. I don't have any paid advertisement. I don't have anywhere where I advertise except for my website, my social media, and purely people just recommending. And I've done a trade show before. It is a lot of hard work. 3 days just standing there. I couldn't leave my stall. Once you get the audience, you got about 40 people surrounding you. You can't leave that stall. You're just constantly trick after trick after trick after trick. You're on your feet for hours. Um, it could go great. You could get one gig, you could get 2 gigs, or you could get nothing. But you've spent so much money on that exhibition, that one stall, to get it's a hit or miss. But for me, I prefer word of mouth because it knows I'm working hard. When somebody says, "Oh, you got recommended," it means I have worked hard somewhere else for somebody to actually mention my name, and that's what I like.
So, do you have any examples of where a trick you performed went badly?
Went badly. Oh god, yeah, I've got a few, but this one is real bad. So I had a opportunity to brand for a new gaming company, card game, a company. They wanted me to do a few tricks to kind of sell their product. I went for the interview. I did this trick where I get somebody to pick a card. I cut the corner of the card and I eat the card. Everything went well in the interview. They loved it. They loved the whole thing. After I eat it, I swallow the card and I put the rest of the card in my mouth and join it back up so that corner returns and gets stuck back on. Went fantastic. But, however, when I went home, I noticed I was feeling a lot of pain on my throat. I couldn't breathe. I was struggling to breathe, and I ended up going to A&E for 7 hours to find out that when I swallowed that card, it cut the inside of my throat and it damaged a little bit. And I was there for 7 hours. The way I got out of that was because they wanted to put a camera up my nose. It was like they showed me the camera like this big, and I was like, nope, that's not happening. That is not happening. That is not going up my nose into my mouth. I'm fine. I'm leaving. I literally told them I'm not having it, and I left. And that was a terrifying experience. I think that was worse than the actual pain that I had, knowing that they wanted to put that in. I was like, nope, that's it.
So, being a magician can be quite dangerous.
Oh yeah.
You guys put your body on the line for certain tricks.
Oh yeah. Certain tricks, we play with fire. We do things with fire. I've burnt my fingers many times when I do this trick that I do. I burn my tongue with some fire. I do illusions with sharp knives, sharp saws. It's all down to the practice.
When you encounter people for the first time and you tell them that you're a magician, what is
It's like, show me a trick. Instantly, it's show me a trick. There's never been a moment where somebody's not asked me that question. I generally have something to show. I mean, I wear rubber bands, I wear rings. These are all things I do. I do magic with. I do something with. I don't need my cards. I don't need anything. I don't want to say no to somebody because it's who they want to see me as an entertainer. So I have to show something.
earlier you mentioned because most magic tricks are the same, it all depends on how it performs.
Yes.
Essentially, the style of the magician. But what else is necessary for magicians to differentiate themselves from each other?
Differentiate themselves from each other. Like, it's a tough question. That is. The way I see it is people either be themselves because they're good as themselves, and if you're not feeling comfortable that way, make a character. Be somebody else because it's important. That's how people remember you. If I do the same stuff David Blaine does, why, or Dynamo, when somebody says, "Oh, can you do that trick that Dynamo did?" I'm like, "But Dynamo did that trick. You've seen that trick. Why would I want to do something somebody else has already done right now when you've already seen it? Let me do something else. Let me show you something you haven't seen. Let me show you something I love doing, like what I'm good at and how I perform it."
Before we come to a close, I'm going to ask you one last question. Question we ask all our guests. What song would you like to include in our playlist?
What song? Oh God, I've got two favorite artists. My favorite artists are Eminem and Anne Marie. Anne Marie is one of my favorite artists. I've met her. I've been to her gigs. I've actually had the pleasure of actually showing her a magic trick, which was quite cool. So it'd be either one, Eminem, because I get a lot of motivation from Eminem. Every time I want motivation, it's Eminem that I put on. Every day I listen to Eminem and Anne Marie.
If you have to choose one, which one would it be?
You're killing me. You're killing me here. It would be Lose Yourself, Eminem. I'm sorry, Anne Marie. It would be Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Lose Yourself by Eminem.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being on the show, SJ.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me. Hi, it's SJ Magic, and you've been watching OSANII TV.
If you want to be part of the show or are interested in any advertising and sponsorship opportunities, the links are in the description. If you've enjoyed this video, please do comment, like, share, and subscribe.